You would love it. It sucks. You would love it. It sucks. It sucks.
I bet I'd like it, right? All right, it's time to drop the puck, Henry. Are you ready?
Yes, it is. I'm ready.
This is episode number 69 of the franchise.
That's right.
Hilarious joke in anything.
Generally is, yeah.
Listen, I tried to strike a solemn tone, but there's no need. We're talking about Goon this week. And Goon is a hockey movie about Sean William Scott. This is our year of Sean William Scott, of course. We covered all the Stiflers. Not even just him.
No.
All the Stiflers.
All the Stiflers, but there can only be one, as we surmised
That's right.
before.
And I don't see any of the other Stiflers in this great Canadian film, Henry.
No, they're certainly not. They're certainly not. Welcome to episode 221 of the franchise. I am your co-host, Hank Thug.
When we reach 227, should we cover 227?
The show?
Yeah. Is that a franchise? I think that's a spin-off.
Let's just do the whole one episode. Let's make that the whole show.
If there's a two-parter of 227, maybe we should cover that. Maybe for the Patreon, the week that comes out, that episode 227 comes out, we'll cover 227.
We'll put that into the discussion rink.
Great. Let us know what you think. Oh, rink. He said rink, guys, because it's a hockey episode.
That's right. Hank the Thug over here.
Great stuff.
What are you?
Defensive pairing number 2. Hank and I, that's right. I'm more of an offensive player. Henry's covering my ass.
I feel like if we were playing hockey, that might be the case.
Probably. I used to play hockey. We talked about hockey already. It's fucked up. Like, I know Ben Cohen suggested Goon and Goon Last of the Enforcers, and I was excited to cover them, but I realized in watching them, like, all of my hockey anecdotes are wasted. We already covered Mighty Ducks.
Yeah, but you know, this is an adult movie, so you might have more. We have new listeners, man. That was a while ago we did Mighty Ducks, so
was it?
I don't know. It feels like a while ago.
Who would win, the Halifax Highlanders or the U.S. Olympic junior hockey champs, the Ducks?
Well, I know I'd be rooting for the Halifax Highlanders.
What?
I'm sure they'd probably be winning big time.
Let's go through the positions, Henry. You got goalie. Who wins, Goldberg or this guy who has his mom on his helmet?
Belchy.
Is that his name?
Belchy, yeah. I'm going to go with Belchy.
You're going to go with Belchy.
Yeah, Belchy.
Interesting. Now, Sean William Scott is a fourth liner on an offensive line, correct? He's not a defenseman.
Well, this is where your expertise in hockey has to come in. Because, hockey, I don't dislike hockey. I just never took a big interest in it. But I think it's entertaining to watch a good hockey movie for sure. And I don't know that much about it. So
it's the best sport. Hockey's the best sport.
Right, I forgot. But he's an enforcer, so I mean, where would they stick somebody like that? If he's constantly behind the guy who's the, captain shooting all the shots, then he's got to be on the offensive line, right?
Here's the thing. They seem to have him on the offensive line, but he's always covering the star of the team, Laflamme.
Right.
But that kind of doesn't make sense because if Laflamme's the biggest scorer, they'd probably have him on the first line, and I don't think you'd put an enforcer on the first line, so it would make sense to put him on defense, but I don't believe he is on defense. There's a lot of hockey details in these movies that
There
I
really are.
simply had to ignore.
That were inaccurate.
Not inaccurate, just incomprehensible.
Okay, all right.
For instance, the league that he's playing in with the Halifax Highlanders.
Yeah.
Is this minor league? Is this supposed to be like a fake NHL? Explain it to me.
I know. I guess I kind of did the same thing. I as soon as they sort of say minor league, I just listened to that and I thought about that.
That said, Henry, in the second movie, they say that his fight with Liev Schreiber is number 1 ranked on hockeyfights.com. That leads me to I can't imagine that a minor league hockey fight would be ranked number 1 on such a list.
Yeah, I know, and also the way it's broadcast and everybody's watching it. Unless I also just thought maybe it's one of those things where, like, in these small towns, well, Halifax is a pretty major city, but like they have, like, you know how certain towns that don't have major league sports, they just really love their minor league franchises, and I just thought maybe that's what this was.
It's
You know
Canada.
what I mean? Like,
it's Canada. They're going to watch hockey no matter what. But I could not make heads or tails of what this league was.
yeah, I mean, I didn't really think it mattered, but
And also, he's playing with that fucking coach back home who's the brother of Kim Coates, the coach of the Halifax Highlanders. And what league was that?
Yeah, I know. Well, what I thought was...
Is he playing Little League in that sequence?
What I thought was that was like sort of a version of like maybe like a double A, and then he just was moving up to triple A or something like that. That's all I could kind of surmise. He was just moving from one minor league to a little bit higher, because they do say that when he gets to Kim Coates' team, that's one step away from the pros. I remember that. They do say that. So, I mean, I never took any of this to be as part of the pros. Only Liev Schreiber being a pro at the beginning. That's what I thought. Because you see him step down too. They kick him out essentially, and he kind of starts.
But he's playing in the
again.
same league.
But not at the beginning. Remember, isn't he like he's kind of in the NHL, quote unquote, and he for that suspension or whatever, they basically.
Oh, you mean LaFlamme?
No, him too, but Ross the boss. I mean, I think he's a professional player, and then he just finally just gets shut down to the other league. That's what I surmised. I never thought any of this was pro except for LaFlamme and him at the very beginning, and then they just get demoted essentially. They get sent down to the minors.
None of it makes sense. This fucking obsessed owner in the second one who needs his minor league hockey team to win.
I don't know. I didn't think too much about all that, dude. I really didn't. I mean, I just thought it was just kind of a character comedy. I didn't think much about it.
I thought about it literally nonstop for both movies.
That's because you're a huge hockey fan, and that would go through your mind.
Well, if you're making a very detailed hockey movie that takes place in Canada and is designed to be watched by hockey fans, maybe you want to think about a few of these details.
Well, for viewers like me that didn't really know that much, it didn't really matter. All those thoughts you're saying crossed my mind occasionally. They didn't like go away, but then I just kind of didn't care after a while. But that's just me.
All right, Goon was a cult sensation, Henry. Did you watch it when it came out?
No.
Okay, I didn't either, but I watched it like pretty soon after, and I did not like it enough to watch the sequel.
Yeah, I saw your Letterboxd review there. You had given it 2 stars. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't really like it. That said, I was willing to give it another chance because I watched it with my ex-girlfriend, Katie, and she hates movies like this.
Yeah.
Like, she's not into sex jokes. She's not into vulgarity. She's like, I mean, she wasn't a prude, but she also like fucking hated Judd Apatow movies.
I remember
and stuff.
that.
So like, you know, Jay Baruchel and Sean William Scott in a sports movie was not the most appealing thing to her. And so the whole time I'm watching it, I just feel her next to me hating it. And it probably affected my enjoyment somewhat.
Yeah, I would imagine it did. Yeah, I would imagine it did. No, me, I remember the movie coming out. I don't remember much else, and I just remember, and when we got assigned this by Benny Cohen, I uh, I was totally game for it because we've done sports movies before, but we haven't done that many. And you know, I love Sean William Scott, and I love Liev Schreiber, and I had no idea what to expect. So this was kind of a fun, fresh thing for me to see. Period. So I went into this kind of looking forward to it, but fully not knowing if it was going to be a complete piece of shit or you know, I didn't know what to think. So
I don't know.
yeah.
I never thought it was a complete piece of shit, and when they announced the sequel, I was happy for fans of this movie because it's one of those things. Like, that's happened to me before.
Yep.
You know, when fucking
where you care.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, you might not have cared when Firefly got canceled and they made that movie, but that was like a huge deal for me.
Of course, absolutely.
Yeah.
I get it. I get it. Yeah, absolutely.
Henry, I
Yeah,
ever
by
tell
the
you
way-
about the time I camped out to see an advanced screening of that movie and it got canceled?
Of Firefly?
Yeah, the Firefly movie, Serenity.
Camped out where?
Like outside a movie theater.
In New York?
Yes.
You're a fucking maniac.
I didn't like camp. I like went into the city really early that day. Like first thing in the morning and set up some chairs with a friend of mine.
Christ. Was it going to be that big?
I thought it might be, but then it got canceled. It was like first come, first serve. Like, come on. And then like they announced, like, actually, we don't have a copy of the movie.
I'm trying to think if I've ever done that for anything in my life, and I don't know that I have. I don't think I have. I can't. I do not like lines, and I do not like waiting. So I don't think I would have done that.
It was the summer, man. Like, you're hanging out. It was like a beach chair.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like if they had, like, you know, if I had even had a chance to like see Stanley Kubrick in person, and I had the opportunity, I wouldn't camp out anywhere. I wouldn't put a chair up. I'd just be like,
and that's why you live your life with so many regrets. Did I get too real?
Because of those celebrity events that I just decided
That's right.
to take a pass.
But that's you, man. You didn't go see Morphine, and then that dude died.
That was not my fault.
They were playing On Your Block.
Yeah, that's different. I was intertwined with a paramour at the time, and it complicated matters. And I do regret that decision. That was very bad. They were playing at a nightclub at literally at the end of my block, very close to my apartment, and I passed because I was involved in something.
All right, that's number one. Let's go through your top 5 regrets. What's number 2?
That's a big regret. That's one of them. I mean, artistically, like from the music or artistic world of any kind, that's a big one. That's huge. I don't think about it that much, but I appreciate you reminding me of that failure.
No problem.
Yeah.
Ellen Burstyn, the time you didn't go out with Ellen Burstyn, even though she explicitly asked you to fuck her.
Ellen Barkin.
That's what I meant. I've done that before.
Yeah. Although I'd love to have a cup of tea with Ellen Burstyn. She's fascinating. Yeah.
What if Ellen Burstyn wanted you to fuck her? Would you do that?
I'd have to get the geometrics on what the current status of her of what she looks like.
I don't know. Say she looks like the end of Requiem for a Dream.
I regret in 2008 not figuring out some way to pony up the money, and I knew you then, to pony up the money to see AC/DC at Madison Square Garden.
In 2008? That's your biggest regret? Seeing an over-the-hill fucking rock band?
Oh, no, it was an amazing tour. I have the DVD. It's fucking great. And The only I just it was so expensive and I was so poor and but I
Was this
should
their
have figured
Walmart
out.
tour?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I should have figured out a way to go, but I didn't. But I did see them live once in my life, and that's all I cared about. But I would have been nice to probably do that. These are both music things, though. Film wise, I don't know. I passed up a couple of like midnight shows probably, but I don't regret one in particular. I remember I had a I could have seen Metropolis at a midnight showing, and I was like, "When's this going to be done? 3:30 in the morning? I don't really feel like doing that."
Metropolis? No, thank you. Speak Up movie.
Huh? Huh? Fritz?
Where's the dialogue?
I have that Blu-ray, so I'm fine.
Oh, that big metal one.
No, I got it at a library sale. Beautiful.
Oh, okay. Henry Goon. Let's talk about it. Or, unless you want to talk about Go On, the Matthew Perry NBC show.
Either or is
Now,
fine.
that had, of course, the female lead was Laura Benanti from Broadway. She's
yeah.
tread the boards, Henry.
Sure.
And so have you.
Okay.
With your great band, Lord Awesome.
Oh, is that treading the boards when you're in a band?
Oh, that's a great point. I mean, maybe not always, but certainly Bruce Springsteen has tread the
How about
boards.
shredding the sticky vomit-covered gum floors of Manhattan shitholes? Yes,
Those
I
are
have done
boards.
that. Yeah, they are boards of some sort. Absolutely.
I'll tell you who's treading the board. The audience at a Lord Awesome show, am I right?
Yeah.
Oh, we're having fun tonight.
We were a boring band. That's what people most said.
You're the opposite. You were very fun. All right. Gang, Goon.
Goon.
Now, this feature film was, of course, written by Jay Baruchel and Evan Goldberg, and directed by a fellow named Michael Dowse, but that's, I think, less important than the writers. Baruchel, you are familiar with. He is an actor. We have covered him on the show. He was in Knocked Up. But I first encountered him on the Apatow show Undeclared. He was the lead on there.
Okay.
He is not one of these, like, double threat guys normally, like a lot of the other guys in that crew. I think he's only written these Goon movies.
Yeah. I thought of you when I saw him in the, I mean, I knew he was involved, obviously, and he wrote it, but I was trying to remember if you were, like, a big fan of his, or you were just kind of like, yeah, he's all right. He's a good, funny guy. I couldn't remember if he was, like, in your pantheon of really fucking funny people you love and follow, what you would watch anything that he's involved with.
I mean, he's in the middle. Like, I love Jay Baruchel, but I wouldn't, like... I mean, I skipped Goon, too.
Yeah, and that was his, like, directorial debut.
Yeah,
so
and he's got this new movie I forgot all about that's getting horrible reviews that he directed called Random Acts of Violence.
Okay.
Have you heard about this?
No, I have not.
Hour and 20 minutes, Henry, horror movie. How have you not seen it?
I don't know. Is it streaming? I'll probably watch it.
Looks like a shitty horror movie with a low budget, so it must be streaming. Yes.
I'm going to search for it right now, motherfucker. Mm-hmm. Hey, speaking of that, all my Letterboxd friends out there, how the fuck are you guys seeing Tenet? Are you all going to...
Yeah, they're going to see it in theaters, bitch. Some of these people
playing near me.
Yeah, well, most of these people live overseas where it's a lot safer.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I guess that's probably true. Not everyone on there was, though. There were some Americanos, but you're probably right. Yeah. Fucking Nolan, dude. Stream the movie, man. Do both. You can do both. I'll pay $20 for that shit. Come on.
That guy's a shitheel. Come on.
Come on.
That guy wants to make money.
I know, and he will, but he'll make...
I mean, it's not totally his choice. It's the studio, but...
Yeah,
I mean...
I even read an article with the fucking, I guess, distributor of AT&T, and that guy was like, there's no way we're going to be streaming that movie. That's not going to happen. I'm just like, fuck you, man. It's like...
Just put it on HBO Max for $25. Yeah. People will pay that.
I will. Yeah.
I would pay $25 to watch that movie on HBO Max.
You would?
Well, once they solve their fucking dispute with Roku, so I can watch HBO Max on my goddamn TV. These greedy fucking pieces of shit. It's all about fucking money, Henry. I am over it.
You know what I'm over? I'm over money, man.
No, I am. I'm pulling out of the bank system of this country.
Yeah. Start going for the under the mattress thing, man.
I'm paper only from now on.
Yeah, paper only, stuffing under your mattress.
Can you believe that? I spent all this fucking money on this Roku TV so I can watch stuff that I normally watch on my laptop on the TV, and they're in a weird money dispute with HBO Max and Peacock. So even though I'm spending my money on those streaming services, I can't watch them on the TV that I spent my fucking money on. How much money do you want me to spend, you scum-sucking shit weasels?
Shit weasels, that's good. That's going to be in my lexicon for hell. He needs a drink after that. There he goes. Yeah, no, I'm with you, man. It's very, very frustrating. They just want more and more and more. You know, it's even like with Amazon Prime now. They've added this new thing every time I tune in now. Things that used to be free on there as part of the Amazon Prime deal have now been bought up and separated by like different companies. So now they have like subsidiary brother companies within Amazon, and it's like, oh wait,
But Henry, a lot of movies on Amazon, if you search it, 2 entries come up. One where you would have to spend money, and one where you would watch it for free. They're actively trying to fool people into paying money for free shit.
No, I've noticed that. I noticed that right away, but it's still frustrating because there's actually quite a lot of things that were just simply taken away.
I wish Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk would kill each other. I wish they would die in a Mexican standoff.
I'm all for Elon Musk for that. He's a horrible, horrible, horrible human being. I don't know that much about Bezos.
He sucks too. Goon. So Baruchel co-wrote it with Evan Goldberg, who is great. He's Seth Rogen's co-writer and co-producer. They wrote Superbad and Pineapple Express and a lot of those movies together.
Yeah.
And co-directed This Is the End and all that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
This film was released Feb 24, 2012. A budget of $12 million, and it only made $7 million. You know, it got a sequel because of that streaming and whatever cash.
Yeah.
Home video.
Like you said, right? It was success on Netflix afterwards. Is that what happened?
Yeah, on all that shit, wherever it was.
I mean, it would have had to be because for that kind of money, and then the length of time taking between the movies is obviously an indicator they didn't think they had quite a hit on their hands.
Oh yeah, no. This is one that literally like had to earn its audience.
Yeah, for sure.
It came in at number 156 at the American box office, Henry, right between the Duplass brothers, Jeff, who lives at home, with Baruchel cohort Jason Segel, and it's okay, and The Raid Redemption. It made slightly more money than The Raid Redemption.
All right.
In America. Right. I'm sure that made tons of shit overseas. Yeah. All right. I mean, that's all I got. No awards for these movies. I mean, no one nominates comedies. I actually noticed that this movie was nominated for a lot of Canadian film awards, but I couldn't tell whether it was like a real awards show or just like a bullshit Canadian thing.
Oh, I don't know. I don't pay attention.
I don't know if it's like the BAFTAs of Canada or like the Blockbuster Entertainment Awards of Canada.
Yeah, the CAFTAs.
But it did win Best Film at the Canadian Comedy Awards, Henry. How about that?
Right. There you go. Well, they do have the Toronto Film Festival. That's one of the world's leading film festivals.
TIFF is a big deal, but this has nothing to do with that. Yeah.
Have you ever gone to the? You never been to TIFF.
I've never been anywhere.
You never been to any film festivals?
I've never been to a film festival, including the New York Film Festival and the Tribeca Film Festival. And
you regret that? Is that a regret in your life?
No. I mean, I technically have because I think I've been to like 2 screenings from one of those festivals.
Yeah, I feel like I was definitely at a Tribeca Film Festival movie.
Yeah.
I really feel like I was, but I just didn't think much of it to make note of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw Home, the French film with Isabelle Huppert at a New York Film Festival screening or something.
Oh, parlez-vous français?
Yeah.
I never heard of that one, and I like her.
Great
All
film. Check it out. Yeah, it didn't really get a big release here. Nobody's ever heard of it because I saw it at a film festival.
Yeah. All right.
All right, hockey.
Great
Let's drop the puck. Henry, lace up your skates. So
Get in the box.
that's not the beginning of a game.
You're just naming random shit.
No, I'm naming things that happen at the beginning of the game. Lace up your skates. Drop the puck, Henry.
Mm-hmm. Turn on the scoreboard.
Turn on the scoreboard.
Zamboni the ice.
I'm doing things hockey players do. You're just choosing random personnel in the arena.
Sure, why not? They count too. Those are service.
Fire
workers.
up the hot dogs.
That's right. Give those guys some fucking attention. Jesus. They're freezing their tits
Cracker
off.
Jacks.
Those guys work for a living. That's right.
They're essential employees.
That's right. Ticket attendees, all that kind of stuff. That's what I'm saying.
I really like the virtual audience. Have you been watching anything with like a virtual audience?
It's fucking awful, man. I've tried to watch some baseball games, and they got
I like it.
Cardboard cutouts. Not everybody's doing it. Of course, my beloved Mets are doing it. It's fucking awful. But the worst part isn't the virtual audience. It's the virtual sounds. That's worse.
What do you mean? Yeah. It's like they have a meter, like they're at a test screening, and they. Oh, I like this. I don't like this. Boo.
It's so bad. So while the commentators are talking, they got our friends overseas probably don't have this because they wouldn't probably.
They have it everywhere, bro. I'm sure they do this for soccer.
Really?
They do it for wrestling.
Okay. Well, but yeah, I mean, you listen to the 2 commentators talking, and I kindly got my wish where like it's sans music and I can just watch a baseball game where it's just like a nice, quiet, reflective, lovely sport with the commentators, and I still have to have artificial crowd noise and cardboard cutouts in the background. We just need noise. Americans.
But we do. No, Henry, as someone who watched WWE with no crowd whatsoever, you need noise.
That's a different animal. Baseball is very different.
You want them to just play baseball in silence? It's not boring enough for you?
Commentators are fine. That's enough. I don't need artificial crowd noise. It's ridiculous.
Let's talk about hockey, Henry. We've got still in the playoffs the Boston Bruins, the Tampa Bay Lightning, the Dallas Stars, the Colorado Avalanche, the Las Vegas Golden Knights, the Vancouver Canucks, the Philadelphia Flyers, and the New York Islanders. I have stopped watching
the current stats of hockey games right now.
Well, I think it's interesting. We're recording this in September. Hockey is usually long done by now. We're already starting to train for the next season, and we're right smack dab in the middle of the playoffs.
Oh, okay. All right. Who'd have thought?
Yeah.
Who'd have known?
I stopped watching because the Rangers were knocked out immediately. It was like they dropped the puck, and the NHL was like, "What are you doing here, guys? Go home."
That's like me with the Mets. Opening pitch, I'm out.
Yeah, this is a rebuilding year. Try again.
Exactly. If it's not a strike, I'm done. I'm just waiting for the Wilpons to die. Then I'll tune back. Yeah.
All right, you got Sean William Scott. He plays Doug Glatt. Is that the character's name?
Doug Glatt. Yes.
It's a good name.
Based on a real dude.
It's based on a lot of real dudes.
Well,
I mean, I know they say it's based on a real dude.
And the second dude, I read his whole story, and then he's in the second movie. I mean, I know what you mean. It's like a composite of different fights, but I think the main guy, like his personality, seems to have been based on this fella.
I'm gonna call bullshit. I'm going to say if you met that man on the street, you would not say, hey, you remind me of Sean William Scott.
No, but I bet you he's got a little bit of hometown fame now because of this movie. I guarantee you that.
Probably.
Yeah.
So Doug Glatt is not a hockey player at the start of the movie. Where's he working again?
At a bar.
Right, he's a bouncer.
Massachusetts.
That's right. We start in America.
Yeah, and that actually was one thing in the movie that was kind of confusing to me.
It was especially confusing to me because Eugene Levy plays Sean William Scott's dad, and, excuse me, he's Canadian.
Yeah, I know.
If you're going to make a movie that takes place largely in Canada that's about hockey, you can't have Eugene Levy play an American.
Yeah, especially like a Bostonian, where like, you know, you got Jay Baruchel with the thick axe, the Ben Affleck thing.
Yeah, he's really going for it.
Yeah, he is. But yeah, it was a strange geographical zigzagging that went on in this movie that was just, it did get confusing because in both movies, because we'd be like, I was trying to figure out like, so we're driving on a bus from Halifax to like Reading, Pennsylvania, and then we're going, but like what? It was that part was confusing to me. Like it seems like overnight they're going back and forth between like.
Is it on a bus because they couldn't afford a plane?
It's minor league. I would assume they don't have a plane. I mean,
I don't think it's minor league.
I think you're wrong, but
all the clues. This movie's a puzzle box. I can't figure it out.
Look, meanwhile, veteran enforcer Ross the Boss Ray is demoted to the minors after serving a 20-game suspension. So he's in the minors, and LaFlemme is stuck in the minors. And so there you go.
Okay, then answer me this, Henry. Mm-hmm. Wasn't the point of sending Doug Glatt to this team to like build up LaFlamme's confidence again and his spirit of teamwork so that he can again be a huge star in the NHL, which he apparently was?
Yeah. I know. I agree. Yeah.
So then 5 years later, when we check back in with these characters in the sequel, why is he happily waiting to be appointed captain of this minor league hockey team?
I don't know. That's completely a mystery to me. Yeah. It's a weird thing because it's kind of like they should have probably just. Maybe they was like so low budget they were just afraid of treading on NHL stuff and didn't want to try to. But I don't know. You can do that if you change the name. I mean, fucking Oliver Stone did it in Any Given Sunday. He just created his own professional National Football League,
yeah.
You know?
Every sports movie that's ever been made, I was able to understand what league they're in at the very bare minimum.
Yeah. I know it's odd, and even a movie like that you don't like.
Durham. The Replacements with Keanu Reeves. I understood that they were in the NFL during a lockout. In Bull Durham, I understood that they're playing AAA.
Yeah. So it is the minor leagues, whatever. Same thing. Yeah. So I don't know, really get the conflict. It's a little bizarre. It's weird. Again, didn't bother me. Clearly bothered you.
Yeah. What's Baruchel's character's name?
I don't remember that.
Do you have that?
I will find it. Sure.
I want to talk about his video blog, Henry. Pat?
Yeah.
Okay. So he hosts a show called Hot Ice, which is a hockey video blog. Although I thought it was a video blog at first, then we see like people filming it. So it's a public access show.
Boy, you were bringing up a lot of quandaries that I just let go. Yeah, I don't have. It certainly looks like a blog, and then he's on a sound stage.
Yeah, he gets fired off of it.
Yeah, maybe they needed to rerun some details of the script before they went to shooting.
Maybe.
I think so. Yeah.
All right, but I do like it. I like the relationship between these two characters. Pat, who is a character I found annoying when sitting next to an ex-girlfriend watching this, I was able to appreciate a bit more here.
There's still too much of them. There's still too much of them.
Yeah, but they know that. There could be more of him, dude. They could have sent this character to like Canada with him to like
Yeah,
live with him as a roommate.
I couldn't have handled that. Yeah, yeah. No, because Jay Baruchel is funny, but it's just there's a lot of it. But yeah, I really, really like this movie, man.
Do you?
I really do.
I
thought
thought
it
you
was
would.
really really, yeah. I thought it was really funny. I thought it had a really nice vibe to it. I thought got a lot of heart, and I
Yeah.
thought it was just kind of like a good. I mean, I don't know that much about hockey, but I certainly am not an idiot about it. And like, I thought it like got a lot of cool things about hockey that I didn't know about. Like, I really didn't even understand the role of enforcer. Like, I didn't, and to the point where somebody I know just told me they were thinking of. Are they thinking of getting rid of that altogether? That position, or
It's
what's
not
going
a
on with that?
position.
Well, it's unofficial, but I mean, like, are they thinking of like
It's
tamping
something
down?
it has over the years, just as injuries have ramped up and penalties have been increased. So like, you really run the risk now if you get into a fight of being taken out for an entire period. And there are very few players on teams now whose job it is solely to fight. So usually you're like you're a situational player, you know what I mean? And so one of the things you do is fight. But like if you're going to get like a misconduct penalty and be taken out of the game, for the most part it's not worth it. But I do like that this movie Goon makes a case for the enforcer because it reminds I thought they did a good job of showing things that an enforcer on a hockey team does that isn't fighting. You see him go down to block pucks. You see him go down in front of the net and just like block the goal with his face, which is like that's a thing you have to do, and you give up your entire fucking body in hockey. And my favorite part is the last fight of the movie with Liev Schreiber, which is, I mean, obviously they went for it and they wanted it to be this enormous. It's like the hockey fight version of Roddy Piper and Keith David in They Live. But I love when he leaves the game and what you see is that Sean William Scott winning that fight changed the momentum of the game. And momentum is a very mysterious thing in hockey that is
sports period.
Yeah, I know.
Basketball for sure.
Basketball, it's big in basketball for sure.
Yeah.
But it is definitely a thing in these team sports where you go back and forth. Like when football is a little less so because the clock stops so much and the ball just goes back and forth, you know? But basketball and hockey, momentum really legitimately matters, and winning a fight is a really tangible way of shifting momentum. I've seen it happen time and again when a team wins a fight and in the ruckus right after that they end up scoring a goal.
Yeah, wow. See, the funny part to me was that I've seen a lot of hockey and I've seen a lot of fights, but I did think it was hilarious how they make it way more dramatic, where like most of the fights are kind of like at the end credits when they show the real guy like fighting, and it's just like constant punching, like blah, 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 blah. And in this one it's always like a fucking standoff with like everyone watching, stopping the action. And you know, I've not really seen that many times.
Yeah, I would say 50% of hockey fights is two dudes dropping their gloves, grabbing each other on the jersey, and then trying to get their hands free for 30 seconds before falling down.
Right. But these are like boxing matches. There's like punches and guards and blocks, and it's very funny. And I mean, they explain some of that in the character. They try to give him like what is he, an amateur bare knuckle boxer, I think they say. They say it in the second one, and I believe they allude to it in the first one, Sean William Scott's character. So, but
he's also, I think he's just like this sweet dumb guy who can really take a punch.
Yeah, it's more that he can take it.
Yeah,
I think.
Right, exactly.
Whereas but they also just make. I think Liev Schreiber is absolutely fantastic in this movie. I just love his. This is like one of those movies I was watching, and it just looks like it was so fun to make. Like it just looks like such a good time that everyone is just having such a great time. And I even liked stupid characters that in other movies I would be rolling my eyes at, like the two Russian guys. I mean, I thought they were funny.
Ukrainian?
I Right, exactly right. How
Mm.
they keep getting mad. I love the drunk. What is his name? The guy who's the coach in the second one. He's like the assistant coach
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
second
him
movie.
him I loved.
He's great. I don't
I
like the religious guy. He was too much. I thought that was the one weak link in that team. I've seen it
Oh,
in a
that
million
guy,
sports
yeah.
movies. Yeah.
It's variable for me. I mean, we could talk about it. He basically gets noticed. I mean, can we go through the plot like really quick and
Yeah,
then we
yeah,
can get
yeah,
into
yeah,
the
yeah.
team?
Yep,
All right.
yep.
So his friend is into hockey. He hosts the show Hot Ice. I thought the scenes with the actual thing were good. Like when they were taking calls, the running joke with Sully from Worcester calling in and ripping on Jay Baruchel, I think is a really funny bit.
That was very funny. Yeah. And the guys in the control booth, like, he yells at them for like, you're supposed to be screening these fucking calls, and they're just like giving him the finger and all that. It's just very funny.
Yeah. He says he's going to give him an ass raping that only Ned Beatty or the cast of Oz have experienced.
Yeah, and it's funny because like some of the one-liners I think like that are very, very funny, and then some of them are like so pre-planned, knocked uppy that it was just kind of hard to like not
That
look at
said,
that. You know what I mean, though, by that?
no,
You
no,
know
no,
what I mean.
I do, but this film seemed so much more scripted to me. There's a
Yes.
lot of improv, of really obvious improv in the second one that grated on me more than the dialogue in this one did. So they end up they're at a hockey game, and how does he get noticed? He gets in a fight. A dude climbs into the crowd and fights him.
Yeah, the player calls Sean or calls somebody gay.
And
he
Sean
says, "Hey,
William
my
Scott is a
brother."
gay brother and gets offended.
Right. Yeah, yeah, and he just beats the shit out of him, and then he basically gets noticed.
And so then he's on this minor league team, and he goes to his first practice. What?
The Assassins.
Right. So to me, the two funny. There's two moments in this movie that made me laugh really hard, and the first one, I'm sorry to say, comes right here when Jay Baruchel yells at him from the stands of the hockey arena, "Take the number 69." It's hilarious because it's just perfect because he would think it's hilarious, and also it is hilarious
It
for
is
the
hilarious.
movie. For the movie, and it's smart because think about how now, like, they could have offered merchandising where you can buy a Halifax jersey, right,
Yeah,
with Glatt on the back, and then it's like, hey, this is my Goon merchandise. But now that jersey is number 69, that is a funny thing to own.
Yeah, it would be, and also what makes a lot of that funny too is just Sean William Scott's performance, and that he's just like, oh, okay, I'll take that number.
He's he's a really passive character, and I think the first time I watched this movie that bothered me, to have like a lead with like no brain of his own and no instincts and no impulses, and it was hard for me to wrap my head around. But like, I guess if you just take him to be like, he is pure.
Yes.
This guy's pure. He's sweet and he's pure, and he can throw a punch and take a punch, but that's just what he does for work.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and he does have a low IQ. He's not a genius, but he's also self-aware. He knows that, and I think that helps. And I
think that his intelligence wavers. I think he.
Oh yeah, well, like any character in a movie where they're supposed to be dumb, their intelligence always wavers.
No,
it's like
not in good movies.
No, well, Forrest Gump's intelligence wavers.
I'm not referring to that as a good movie.
Okay. Which one are you thinking of?
I don't know. I feel like there's movies with dumb guys where like we keep up with them. It's you decide. I think you have to decide how smart a character is and fucking stick with it, man.
Well, right, because there are moments where like
Here,
Sean
The
William
Sopranos is a great. I'm sorry, I know you haven't watched The Sopranos, but everyone on that show is dumb, and when you watch an episode, you know exactly how they're going to react in a situation because we understand how dumb they each are.
Yeah. Like because when the danger of the wavering level of intelligence is that if like there are scenes where Sean William Scott is so dumb, it's kind of like, does he even understand like how to procreate?
Right.
Like, why does he get certain things he gets and then certain things he doesn't? And that is, I didn't think it was a problem.
I don't think it's a problem necessarily, but I think it's noticeable.
It is. I mean, and plus, and also the jokes that all of his teammates play are dumb jokes, but they're also very funny, and they're kind of like you kind of have to get some of them. You have to be quick to get them, and you don't even know what's filtering through his character or not. Like, is he getting all of these jokes? I mean, is he getting all of it, or is he just kind of like, aw, shucks?
My favorite moment, I'll get to. Here's my favorite line in the movie. Alison Pill as the female lead, the love interest. That's her one character trait. She comes up to Sean William Scott crying, okay? And Sean William Scott's reaction, which I adored, is, "Did you just watch Rudy?"
I knew you'd love that line.
And that made me laugh really hard. But also, is this character brain dead?
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Okay. So we burned through a ton of story in the first 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And then he finally gets to the team, like 17 or 18 minutes in. There's so many montages early on, and I feel like I needed to spend more time like learning who the characters are rather than just experiencing them traveling places and getting slightly better.
But I thought we got enough throughout the movie in very well-drawn places, like in the locker room and in the bar. I got to know most of the people
throughout. Throughout the movie.
Confused. Yeah, I was not confused with who was who.
Agreed.
And who. Yeah.
Agreed. Throughout the movie, I thought that was fine. I feel like there's way too much skimming in the first like half hour.
Okay. I didn't particularly feel that way, but I also would like to point out I think that the commentator was fucking hilarious.
And sorely missed in the second movie.
Yeah, I mean, they try with a couple of lines from it. Yes,
because he's replaced by T.J. Miller.
Yeah, LVP in my second movie. There, I said it. But no, this guy is fucking hilarious.
What do you mean? He's in your favorite director Matt Reeves' movie Cloverfield, Henry. I'm sorry, this is from a I just realized I'm referencing something we talked about before airing.
That Dan hates Matt Reeves.
I don't hate Matt Reeves. He's fine. But I might skip that Batman movie.
Yeah, no, you're not.
We have to cover for the podcast.
You won't skip that.
I might have skipped it if I didn't have to cover for the podcast.
It's all right. You'll hate it. Yeah, well, we'll get to T.J. Miller in a little bit. But yeah, the commentator's fucking great. He's got a lot of great lines. Too many to name, but like he'll go off on these fucking tangents and then like go back to commenting on what's happening on the ice. So
it's not like a total joke thing like in like Best in Show or something, or like Major League.
Right. So the two I thought of, because those are two great commentators in movies. But like he'll just be like saying like, the Highlanders are losing so bad, this is unbelievable. My father didn't fight the Nazis. Oh, and it's a goal. Shit like that. Very good stuff, and he's very good, and I love the guy's look too. It's very funny. It's well done.
Let's talk about the team, Hank. So we started to. So Gord Richard Clarkin is the name of the actor who plays the captain, who's the coach in the next one.
Okay, Ogle. Yeah.
He is just a straight up Canadian. This guy. Like he's not really broken through in American shit. I saw him in Land of the Dead. I recognized him from that. But
Okay.
but other than that, I don't think I've seen him in anything. And I thought he was great in both movies. And in this first one, he's my MVP.
I believe that. He's very fucking funny. And I mean, he has that religious guy as a foil, and he doesn't need it. But he's still funny anyway. He makes everything he's in. And he makes what could easily be a tiresome character as like the constantly drunk teammate, boring. But he's not. He's very funny. And like and I like and he's older.
Yeah. That I liked. He really I don't know. He seemed right to me. Like I've seen so many players like that in the NHL that are like older and not as good, but they're still devoted to their team or whatever. This actor even looks a little bit like Mark Messier.
Oh, does he really?
Yeah, like when he had his like white beard and shit on the bench, I felt like I was just watching Mark Messier.
That's funny.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
And I thought this guy really pulled it off. He has 2 big scenes where he delivers big locker room speeches to the team, and one of them is played solely for laughs, and then one of them is played like as an actual inspirational speech. And not only did I think he pulled them both off, but I thought there was a character consistency there. Like both of these speeches could have come from this guy.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely think so. Because he's great. I would have. I don't know. I mean, I guess he just does Canadian stuff, but that's too bad because he could be in a lot of stuff. I mean, he's really good, and he looks like he's got like a great dynamic kind of face.
Face. It's craggy. You can have a beard. You can skip the beard. His hair looks good colored or white. This guy, put him in stuff.
Yeah.
I bet he could do dramatic shit. If you threw this dude in the Post, he would be fine.
He'd be the editor, I could say, or the downtrodden reporter. Yeah, absolutely. He'd be a great cop.
Definitely be downtrodden. He's a good downtrodden guy.
Yeah, he's downtrodden.
We can't throw him on The Walking Dead or something. Give this guy work.
They probably did. Who knows? Yeah.
No, I'm looking. It's all Canadian TV.
Is he in Smallville?
That's a great question, Henry. Let me see if I can find that out for you.
Oh my God! He played Andrew Jackson in the television miniseries War of 1812.
He's never been on Smallville, but he's been on Suits.
He's played Andrew Jackson.
No, that's Andrew Lincoln on The Walking Dead.
No, Richard.
I know. I'm joking. I'm just being an asshole. I'm sorry.
No, it's actually funny because it's also a pun that you Lincoln.
I know.
Instead of Andrew Jackson. So you were taking okay.
I like to create really layered humor on this show for Henry to figure out months later.
I'll listen to this in a couple years and I'll text Dan and I'll be like, oh my God, that Lincoln Jackson joke was fucking brilliant, man.
Let's talk about something unfortunate.
Okay.
Allison Pill's character.
I didn't think she was quite as one-dimensional as you thought. I mean, I thought she was funny.
What do we know about her?
She likes to party.
Mm-hmm.
She likes to sleep around.
Yeah.
She likes hockey players.
Great.
She's dating an accountant. She falls in love with Mr. Glatt. She changes her ways.
Yeah, this film not exactly passing the Bechdel test is all I'm saying.
Yeah, well, obviously not. It's fucking called Goon, written by a guy from fucking Knocked Up. So
I don't know.
I didn't.
A lot of the guys from Knocked Up have written good female characters. This is not one.
Yeah, but no, I mean, but she's all right. I think she's a good enough actress.
I agree. Listen, this could have been way worse if they just cast like some hot lady. Yeah. I mean, not that Allison Pill's unattractive. I think she's adorable. But oh, Henry's making a face right now.
I had the thing in my throat, like a frog in my throat.
Okay. Anyway, if you want to see her naked, she's been hacked, so you can check that out on the internet.
Okay. I'm all right.
All right. Anyway,
I'm good.
Allison Pill, I think, is a really good actor. Going back to Milk, I think was the first time I really took notice of her. But she's great in Scott Pilgrim. She's good in that Newsroom by the Sorkster.
Yeah, I've seen all that.
Yeah.
Season
Snowpiercer
was enough. I forgot she was in that.
Yeah, she played the teacher in the. Remember they go to the classroom car.
Yeah. What have I seen? Allison Pill's whole filmography.
She's been in a lot. She's been around, Allison Pill.
I've seen it all. All right. Okay. Yeah,
she's in Hail Caesar, Henry. You'll see that soon.
Yeah. No. You're right though. If they had gotten like some. Well,
if they had gotten Alicia Cuthbert, who was in the second film, to play this role, maybe.
Well, like if it would have been an abysmal failure, and because I think she radiates a lot of intelligence. She brings something to the role that isn't even written for her. So she's just you already kind of believe that she's like an authentic, genuine person, and she's not just a face.
She makes you believe that she is. Fucking around with a lot of guys as like a defense mechanism or something, or because she's been through some bad stuff. And the moment at the end, I gather, when she tells Seann William Scott, "You make me not want to sleep around with a lot of guys," I think that's supposed to be a big moment in the movie, and it didn't hit as hard for me because I just don't buy this character. I mean, I literally wrote down a line of dialogue, Henry. "Doug, I'm a slut. I'm horny a lot." That's a serious line of dialogue in this movie.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I took it as a comic line that just wasn't very funny, but yeah, I know. I mean, by the way, why is Eugene Levy in this? Is this just like a?
I think he's required to be in any Canadian film.
Okay, all right. It's part of his contract. Boy, he's a busy man.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why Eugene Levy's in this movie. I really don't. Maybe I think it's got to be a Canadian connection. Like, he really... Like, this was probably a major release in Canada, and he wanted to support it.
I thought maybe it was like him and Seann William Scott are just kind of buds. They go back a long
You think they're
ways,
required
so
to be in each other's movies? That's
No,
true.
I
That didn't
think
even
maybe
occur
Seann
to
William
me.
Scott was just... Well, that's immediately what occurred to me. I was just like, maybe Seann William Scott just said, "Hey, I'd love to play my dad. It'd be funny if you get Eugene Levy." I don't know.
Do you think Seann William Scott, forced to play second fiddle to Jason Biggs for all those years in American Pie, finally stepped up and was like, "I'm Jason Biggs now. Eugene Levy, you're my dad."
Yes.
Who's
Well,
Jim now,
meter,
bitch?
That's right. Well, I agree with that wholeheartedly. Yeah. And I did before too. Yeah.
Well, you don't like Biggs?
Yeah.
Oh, we've talked about it. All right. All right, what else you got, Henry?
Well, I think we should talk a little bit about Ross the Boss. I think that Liev Schreiber just brings this great, he's a funny motherfucker. I mean, I remember in the 10, he's great. Anything. I know he does do comedy, but I don't know that I've seen that many things with him.
Well, he wasted almost a decade of his life on Showtime playing Ray Donovan.
Yeah, boy, that's a bad show. I gave it one episode.
Yeah, that's a piece of shit, and it's a bummer because I feel like it took Liev Schreiber from us for a long time.
Yeah, it did take him from us, and boy, people like that show. That's one of those shows like Dexter. People told me to watch it. Ray Donovan, it's so
Only
good.
Dumb old people. No one under 40 and smart has watched that show.
It's not what my experience, but yeah, it's not good.
How many under 40 and smart people are you meeting in New Jersey?
There's a demographic that lives here that is under senior citizen age. I don't know if you know that much about. You don't know.
But where are you meeting them?
I mean, I know that, but
at work?
Nightclubs.
Where do you go?
Nightclubs.
I just picture you go to work and then you go home and you don't do anything else.
I picture you
Go ahead.
going to work,
Uh-huh.
coming home,
Yeah.
and Rokuing it up.
Yeah, that's accurate. That's all I do.
Yeah, all right.
Were you gonna be okay?
Yeah, okay.
All right.
Huh?
All right. I thought Liev Schreiber was great in this. Really funny. I think his handlebar mustache was handled perfectly. He looked exactly like former Los Angeles Kings defenseman Marty McSorley, and I thought he just.
Great.
Like the captain of the Halifax team, I felt that he really captured that style of player, just the over the hill enforcer. He's 38, he's still on the team. He can't play more than 3 minutes a game, but he comes on and he pushes people around when it's needed.
He's hilarious, and I love his little. He has this little thing after every fight he wins where he like just kind of wipes his hands clean. It's just fucking hilarious, you know. He just really loves that shit.
He's
I
great,
like that a lot.
and he's such a good actor that I felt like he added gravitas to the final fight, which I don't know that would have been there under someone else. The moment.
Wait, hold on. I think your sound, went a little weird there for a minute, my friend. You sounded a little bit echoey there.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Everything
I could always hear you, but you just kind of all of a sudden went from being very into it, and then your voice sort of echoed
all right, well,
out.
one of us is going to sound dumb right now. We'll find out who.
Well, you told me to point it out when I noticed differences.
Well, Henry, I appreciate it.
That's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. Yes.
Can I finish my thought?
Yes. No. Oh, please. No, I would never want to interrupt you. 38 years old. Go ahead.
I loved the moment in the final fight, which would never happen in real life. Like, the fight would have been stopped like 1,000 times before the end. But but the moment where the ref sort of makes a move to try and break up the fight, and Liev Schreiber just puts his hand up and says, "Don't you even move."
I love it. I thought he says, "Don't you dare."
Don't you dare. Yeah, but that is
whatever.
It. Yeah.
It's great. And I love movies where, and I like this in action movies too. I love when there is that respect that goes on, and it's just there's this whole thing, and I don't know if this thing, if this is a hockey thing or not. It very well could be, where there's this conversational thing we haven't even talked about between almost in every fight scene, where a lot of it is like, how are you? Like, I hope you're going to be okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of talking in hockey.
Yeah, and like in this one, it's like Liev Schreiber wants to win, but he is happy to lose to this kid, and when he loses, that gets like a great smile from him in a bloody pool in the ice, and it's just great. It's just really, really good.
Yeah, it is like there are action movies where it's like, you know how some action movies, they have like a villain that's not really a villain. He's like a guy who's done bad things, but he's a good guy at heart. Gene Hackman, it's Gene Hackman in every movie he's ever been in.
Except Unforgiven, but yeah.
So like it reminded me of the end of like at the end of Crimson Tide, like Gene Hackman and Denzel Washington part ways. Spoilers for Crimson Tide. I'm so sorry, Henry.
Yeah, I never saw it. It's fine. It's quite all right. I won't remember. Yeah.
But that's what it reminded me of. Anyway.
Yeah, I like that stuff, and it makes it way more effective, because if Liev Schreiber would have just been a fucking asshole the whole movie, then it changes the entire tone. It changes the entire arc of the story, so it makes it very cool.
The movie doesn't have a real villain. Kind of the biggest asshole in the movie is that French guy who, the French Canadian who Sean William Scott has been hired to like watch over.
Him. I like that actor.
I think
too.
you could have a better actor in that role.
I don't agree. I think he's
great. You don't agree. You think that's the best possible actor that they could have gotten for that role.
I think to get for the movie Goon to play the French Canadian hockey player, I think we're fine. I don't need. Who do you want? I mean, you seem to have wanted a lot more from this movie than I think it even needed. That's my feeling. It seems. Like I
think this is a good movie that's almost there. Like it needed a rewrite. I think that the tone drifts all over the place, and they could have tightened that shit up. I think that there are Canadian actors that are playing out of their weight class in this fucking movie where they could have gotten better actors. I think that the captain, whatever his name is, I forget.
Ogilvy.
Yeah, he really proves that he belongs. Whereas this guy, I thought he was better in the second one, kind of, but I just felt like you could do better.
Really?
Yeah, this is a guy who's supposed to be like a star hockey player. He's supposed to be like the Sidney Crosby of the league, like sort of this brilliant head case. And like you need a more charismatic actor in that role. He's essentially once Jay Baruchel disappears from the movie, he's essentially the second lead.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of is, but I liked his sort of prima donna. I thought he played a prima donna pretty boy very well, and I thought the scene they had, like, when their roommates kind of through the wall talking, or basically showing him Scott knocking on his wall, like telling him he'll always have his back. I mean, I thought the actor was very sweet. I thought he got that across pretty well. I didn't feel that it should have been somebody else in the role. I didn't really feel there were many roles at all in this movie that were miscast. I just didn't. I thought it was a pretty well cast movie.
I did too. I thought that role. I don't think it was miscast. I just felt like they settled for an actor who is not the best guy for the role.
Well, they had like $10,000 to probably pay him.
They had a $12 million budget and the Rolodex of Jay Baruchel.
The Rolodex of Jay Baruchel. Oh, okay, all right.
This is a movie written by Jay Baruchel and Evan Goldberg. Like, they couldn't get, like...
I don't know, man. I don't know. You're asking hypotheticals, baby. Well, I was totally satisfied. So
apparently. What do you give this movie?
I'm going ahead full steam on this, baby. I'm going 4.
Oh, that's not full steam. I thought you were going to say 5.
No. There's kinks in the flick that we talked about, but I love this movie. I'll watch it again. I don't say that often. I think it's very good. I think it's a really funny, fun, sweet movie, and I thought it was done very well. I mean, is it a comic masterpiece? No, but for setting out a movie about a hockey enforcer, I think it's great. I love Seann William Scott in the lead role. I mean, I liked a lot of things about it. I mean, I do agree with you on the rewrite, but probably slightly different things about the rewrite. Maybe a little less. I know you thought there was enough less of him, but less Jay Baruchel, maybe more on some of the other teammates. But I thought actually also we didn't even talk about. I thought some of the choreography of the hockey playing was actually pretty good too. Like, it's not complicated, but I thought it was pretty decent. It didn't look like someone who didn't know anything about hockey shooting a hockey movie.
It's good. It's better than in the sequel.
Okay. Yeah. Well.
Yeah. And we didn't talk about Kim Coates at all either, who I did
Love
think
Kim
was
Coates.
perfectly cast. I mean, you're used to seeing him play I feel like he's always like a white supremacist
Scumbag.
murderer.
Yeah, he's always a scumbag.
Yeah,
he's always a fucking scumbag. And we've covered him in this show before.
I feel like we've covered him probably 10 times.
Yeah,
he always has like 4 lines and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, and those fucking guys in Waterworld, I always remember him in that. But he's like in The Last Boy Scout. But
hey, he's in Resident Evil Afterlife, baby.
There you go.
I remember it well. Yeah.
Oh, and podcast franchise favorite, The Client.
That's right. He's also in the
Fantasy
Island movie, Henry, which I loved.
Oh, he's in Bad Boys.
Great film. We'll get to it eventually.
Pearl Harbor, Black Hawk Down. He's in a ton of shit.
Only the greats. Yeah. 3 episodes of Smallville, baby.
Of course. Superhero count.
Superhero count, yeah.
Boy, he really just keeps going. He's got a good career. I mean, he's always working.
He's always working, this guy.
But that's the thing about this. This is another actor where it seems like his TV career is far more successful than his movie career.
But this is a guy that just takes roles.
Yeah, yeah, he's like a working actor for sure. But it's too bad because I could have seen him in something like, he's kind of like a Shea Wiggum. He could have had like a career like that. Like he could be in Boardwalk Empire and shit like that. He'd be fucking great.
He's in that show Godless. You liked that, right?
Oh yeah, I love that. I didn't remember he was in that.
He played Ed Logan.
Beard. Right, the Ed Logan character.
The great Ed Logan character.
Yeah. Monty
All right.
Brogan.
Henry, MVP?
My MVP in this was hard because I really liked a lot of people, but I'm going to go with Liev Schreiber.
Liev Schreiber, okay. And I will be going with Ogilvy. What's the actor's name?
Gordo Richard Clarkin.
Richard Clarkin, thank you. Old
Great
Dickie
pick.
Clarkin.
Great pick. Who's your LVP?
Ooh, I'm going to go with Marc-Andre Grandin.
La Flamme.
Yeah.
Okay. Mine's Stevenson, the religious fella, who didn't bother me as much in the second movie, but in this one it just seemed like a needless appendage to Ogilvy, who didn't need an appendage at all.
I didn't even see him as being an appendage of Ogilvy. I just saw him as like just another wacky dude on the team where like the whack thing was not as interesting.
Yeah, well, the thing is like I guess I had in my head also things like Major League and Bull Durham, where each of those movies also has one white Christian guy in the team who like prays for everybody.
Yeah.
And so I've just like they do it all the time. And it's just like I've already seen it. Now I don't believe you actually set a star rating yet. I gave it 4.
I gave it a 3. I don't know if I said it, but I gave it a 3. Yeah, I'm gonna bump it up from 2.
All right, that's lovely to hear.
It's a solid 3.
Okay, good.
But yeah, I do think that when the movie was trying to be Major League, it worked variably. To me, you could cut out that Christian guy, you could cut out the 2 Ukrainians, you could cut out the goalie. I'm not really interested in any of them. I like the captain, I like the coach. I think that La Flamme serves an important purpose, and Sean William Scott's great.
Did you say the goalie? Belchi?
Yeah, I don't need that guy.
I love that guy. I thought he was great. Yeah. Okay.
I liked some of the jokes involving his mom that he got upset about.
Yeah. It's so dumb, but they're still funny.
Yeah.
I don't know. I still thought it was funny. Yeah.
Okay. Henry. Oh, I also loved the part where I'm so sorry. I forgot about this whole sequence. When he goes out with Alison Pill after meeting her at the bar, and he leaves the bar, and she's looking out the window, and she just sees a piece of garbage blow into his face, and she like has to go outside and talk to him, and then he describes another time that garbage blew into his face. I thought that was very good.
It was very good, and I think that that's a great scene to point out, because I think that whole monologue in the car where he talks about what happened to him as a kid, if it wasn't Sean William Scott doing that, that really might be insufferable. Like that whole dial, you just be like, oh my God, like how fucking dumb is it? But the way Sean William Scott's like so sweet.
Yeah.
And it just works when it really probably shouldn't, because it's an extraordinarily stupid story, but she's laughing and you get why she's laughing, and it works very well. It's also nice to see Sean William Scott playing a role like this, by the way. Because he's always the smart, fucking hilarious goofball, and in this one, he's like dumber than dirt.
It's funny. It reminded me of the part of American Wedding where he's like trying to change his personality to impress January Jones, but that's just his personality in this movie.
Yeah, that's true. I love that, and he cannot do it. Yeah.
Speaking of American Wedding, Henry, the way this movie was shot reminded me of American Wedding. Did you notice that it was shot like a little more like gritty and verite than it really needed to be?
It is grittily shot, and actually the night in the non-hockey arena scenes where like they're at the bar and at night, it is like very filtered, like through sort of like bluish, greenish. Yeah, it's weird. I don't know.
I feel like David Ayer directed this.
Yeah, I thought I saw Gyllenhaal at the end of the bar there. Yeah,
Mm.
makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah. David Ayer, the Grit Master, Sabotage.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, if he was directing the movie, the goalie would have been Killer Croc.
Would have David Ayer and somebody would have died. Definitely, there would
They
have been
all would have
deaths in this
died.
movie.
It would have been a massacre. They would have been eating each other in the Andes.
Yeah. Now it's Ethan Hawke and Alive.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got ice and snow. Why not make them Chilean soccer players?
Goon, Last of the Enforcers. It comes to us Sept 1, 2017. That was its Canadian release date, I believe. Or no, it might have come out earlier in the year. Who the fuck cares? Goon, Last of the Enforcers. Jay Baruchel is now directing, and he's co-writing with a new... he's sprouted a co-writer here? That's not Evan Goldberg.
Yeah, Jesse Shabbat.
Do we know what he's done?
Random Acts of Violence. And
no.
yeah, that looks like that's almost about... Well, let's see. Oh, no, he's done Just for Laughs, All Access. Canadian... Wow,
Just for Laughs
great.
is stand-up comedy. He must be a stand-up comedian that Jay Baruchel knows.
Yeah, I'm looking at this Random Acts of Violence thing right now. Boy. Jordana Brewster. Okay. All right. Sure.
Henry, give me a second.
All right.
All right, so this Jesse Shabbat guy's a fucking clown shoe. Let's talk about it. So they made this movie in 2017. It's been 3 years now. You'd think they'd make another fucking Goon movie.
Well, I think they want to, but yeah, I don't know. This one...
It's impossible to know how this did, because like it really only got released to streaming services.
Yeah. I mean...
Here, anyway. I don't know. Maybe it did well in Canada.
You never know. I mean, this one was one of those ones I kind of was like waffling back and forth between wanting to like a lot of things that were going on and thinking some of it was well done, but it was kind of a tougher go.
Was it? Well, for me too, because it's not as good a movie.
No, it's really not.
I mean, no, really... but this is not a sequel I think you're going to get a lot of blowback from. Is there a person in the world that thinks they topped the first one with this movie?
Bet you there are.
I mean, maybe just because it's like a little more, I don't know, vulgar and gross, and some people, that's really all they're looking for.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, but I mean, yeah, the even like, again, I thought that, I mean, essentially so I don't understand. Another thing I didn't get was honestly how much time has elapsed in their universe.
It has to be, I think it was straight up 5 years.
Yeah?
Yeah. Which doesn't make any sense because if this is a minor league hockey team, why is the roster exactly the same?
Nobody's moving up anywhere. Yeah, I don't know.
Also,
it's very stagnant.
Yeah, I mean, what the fuck? And we have a new owner who's like trying to make moves and shit, and like he seems like this really ambitious asshole. And at first, he's just like, let's keep the team that's been losing for the last 5 years. Let's gather all of them together, but we'll make Sean Williams Scott captain, and that will make us win.
And that's the other problem with the nebulous area where we're in terms of what league we're in, because the goal of, I would think, a minor league owner, I would think would be to, I mean, if it's like a farm team, I don't know, but like, what does he want? What does he want to do?
He's
like,
also
move up into
this
owner.
NHL? This owner who's played by the guy what's his name from Battlestar Galactica?
I don't remember, but yeah,
he's a Canadian actor. Yeah. Oh, okay. Anyway, he is the owner of this team now, and I forgot what I was going to say. Henry,
Callum Keith Rennie.
He's a good character actor. He's been in a ton of shit.
Yeah.
All right. He has a son in the league. Okay, yeah. Played by Wyatt Russell, Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn's son, and
that's right.
he is like a star in the league. He seems to be an enforcer, but also a goal scorer. And like the dad is like one of these like prototypical like dickish dads in movies that like wants his son to be the best at all costs. But like he seems to just want him to be the best in this league.
Yeah,
which
yeah.
made me believe that it's the NHL. But like, I mean, what fucking bad sports dad is like desperate for their fucking kid to be the best player in the minor leagues of hockey?
Yeah, it's a pretty dubious achievement, I would think. Yeah, it's very, very odd, and they give the Anders Kane the very unsubtle last name of Kane. You even see his name on the jersey before you hear it. So he's, the bad brother, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. I didn't realize right away. I had to look it up. I didn't realize right away it was Kurt Russell and Goldie's son, and it's the same guy from This Is 40. So I guess they're buds from that or whatever. He's in that world. Is he?
I don't remember him being in This Is 40, but I am a
yeah. He's the hockey player who hits on Leslie Mann.
Oh, that's right. He's a hockey player in that too. How about that?
Well, apparently he was a hockey player in real life. Not in the NHL. But
yeah. He's one of these sports guys that hurt themselves and then ended up in movies because their dad was famous.
Exactly.
I mean, now I understand why Richard Linklater likes him, because that's his story. He was a baseball player and he got injured. And
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. He wanted to be he was like playing college baseball and he hurt his leg or something and it got him into movies.
Oh. Richard Linklater. I would have never called that.
Yeah, that's why the Jason London character in Dazed and Confused is based on him. He's a football player, and in that movie, the Wiley Wiggins character is also based on him, and he's a Little League baseball player.
Oh.
And then he made that movie, Everybody Wants Some, which Wyatt Russell is in, and that's also like college sports movie.
Okay, because I was just going to say I didn't see that one, and Richard Linklater is not one of the first directors I think of when I think of portraying American sports.
No, he's actually like a sports dude, Richard Linklater. He'll take you by surprise. Hey, he also directed the Bad News Bears movie. He's interested in sports consistently.
Okay. All right. I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, Wyatt Russell, who I fucking love, he was great on the dearly departed AMC show Lodge 49 as well. He has a huge role in this movie, and ultimately he's going to fight Sean William Scott and kick the shit out of him.
Yeah.
To the point where he knocks him out of the minor leagues of hockey.
Yeah. I didn't know what you'd think of Wyatt Russell in this. I wasn't sure if you'd think he was a bad actor or not. I thought he was very good.
He's my MVP. I think Wyatt Russell's great. I think he's like better than both of his parents.
Okay.
No, Wyatt Russell
Mom maybe, but
Wyatt has fully earned his place in the cinema for me at this point. I am all in on Wyatt Russell. I think he's a star.
Kate Hudson, I'll say that. Yeah, he's not better than his dad. Come on, give me a break.
Well, he's a different kind of actor. Kurt Russell, he's way more of a character actor than his dad was.
Is he? I just haven't seen him in enough, if anything.
I mean, just look at him, like that fucking beard and the floppy. Yeah, I mean, that's what he looks like. He's
very cool.
Yeah, he's just kind of more fucked up than Kurt. He's not as handsome, and so
right,
I mean, although he is handsome, I kind of think this guy could be like a lead in a romantic movie. But he's also like a good comic actor, and he could play drama. Like, I think Wyatt Russell rules.
Okay. All right.
I think he's the best actor in this movie.
Okay. Goodness gracious.
He's my MVP.
All right. All right. Wow. Wasn't expecting any of that.
What'd you think about him?
I liked him. I liked him a lot. I wish that in a better script he would have been a little less one-dimensional, because I think when he is given the opportunity to like kind of confront his dad and talk about his feelings, he has to and does, because he's good, convey a lot with his face.
Yeah.
But they don't give him a lot of dialogue to push to work with, and that's unfortunate because then it does.
Because he's so glum the entire movie. He's like
Yeah.
once Sean William Scott gets kicked out of the league, they put him on the Halifax Highlanders, and and he's so bummed to be there that
Right.
like he's like that's his demeanor for the rest of the movie,
Yeah,
basically,
yeah.
except for that one great scene, maybe my favorite scene in the movie, where he like fakes being like pumped up, like to deliver like a pregame pump up
That's
speech.
funny. Yeah. And he slaps the candy out of the Slovak.
Yeah,
Guy's hand.
that was great.
Yeah, see, he gets it. He gets it. He gets it. No more candy. Fuck.
Did you see that there was an alternate take of that in the closing credits where he takes a piece? I'll have a candy. Yeah.
Very funny. Yeah.
All right, I'll tell you. Let's go from MVP to LVP because Sean William Scott gets a job at an insurance company, which makes no sense.
Yeah, I know, and they do such lazy writing. They just say, "Oh, it's Ava's cousin works at an insurance company," and it's just okay. I mean, they might as well just given him like a moving job or something. It was really that was an excuse to get this actor to come in and make gross jokes.
This is Jason Jones, who got his start, or I first saw him on The Daily Show as like a correspondent during the Steve Carell, Colbert years.
Well, I don't remember him. Okay.
Yeah, and he's married to Samantha Bee in real life.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
He's funny. He's good. I liked his show on TBS, The Detour, which ran for 3 or 4 seasons. I enjoyed that show. But I just think like they brought him into this movie. They said, "Hey, Jason Jones, do you want to come play a character in Goon, Last of the Enforcers? And you're going to be playing an insurance salesman who is like a bummer and makes a lot of gross jokes about, hand jobs and shit."
Yeah, and you have a enlarged prostate.
And I think Jason Jones took that assignment and went in there and did the job that they asked him to do. But I don't think he's playing a character like this. Like I never forgot for a single second that he's Jason Jones just going in there and making jokes.
Well, you had a disadvantage then, because I didn't know who he was, and so to me he was just some nobody. But I mean, it was all right. It was just kind of like a time killer to me. It was just a time killer because the plot is so obviously what the comeback. I'm just waiting for Sean William Scott to get back in the game, and I thought the best parts of that were obviously I thought his reconnection with Liev Schreiber and then the fight arena thing. I thought that shit was funny.
No,
I like that.
it was such bullshit. It was just I'm taking the hockey parts of the movie on face value, and I think I'm doing that because they're asking me to. They're asking me to take hockey seriously, and I'm going to, and we can still joke around and have a real nice time, but I am so sorry, bangers and bruisers, or whatever this is, would and could never fucking happen. People aren't going to pay money to watch hockey players fight each other on ice wearing skates. It's so ridiculous. I understand that hockey fights are a big business and that like a lot of people like to watch them on YouTube or whatever, but I mean, ultimately, these are broken down motherfuckers. This is just a collection of Randy the Rams that can die of a one too many concussions at any moment. And like it's just nonsense that this would happen. And I mean, the fact that Sean William Scott does this to get back in the league. First of all, when Liev Schreiber tells him, "Well, at that one, the owner of Halifax will be watching." And I'm like, why?
Right. Why? I wondered that too.
And they're able to predict that he's going to see Sean William Scott looking good fighting and choose him to be back on the team a mere like 3 or 4 months after being fired with a career-threatening injury?
Yeah.
How does any of that make sense?
Yeah, I don't know. Again, I think it was just the writing trying to set up a situation that Jay Baruchel liked they clearly wanted to do a scene where 10 hockey players get in a rink and fight each other. And in order for that to come true, they just manufactured these artificial pretenses.
I don't think Liev Schreiber should have been in this movie.
No?
No, I felt like the end of the first Goon worked really well, and you write him out. I mean, maybe one scene, like late in the movie, where Sean William Scott goes to him for advice. But like he's like the old retired hockey player. Let me give you some advice, kid. But the fact of the matter is, like, by the end of this movie, you have Liev Schreiber on the Highlanders with Sean William Scott, who's been reinstated, and the villain of the piece, Wyatt Russell, whose dad brought him over. Yeah. This is a team whose roster hasn't changed in 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really argue any of that at all, nor do I care to. But, you know, I didn't really mind them being on the same team. I mean, it's totally ludicrous. You know, this movie for me fell somewhere in between, but mostly tween, a major league type thing. I mean, I wasn't looking at this like an 8 men out. So
But the baseball to me is always credible in Major League.
For the most part, yeah. I mean, some of it isn't. I mean, you have caricatures of ways that people play, like Wesley Snipes fouling off every single ball.
But that's fine. That doesn't bother me in the fucking Mighty Ducks, man. But like, you need it to seem recognizably like hockey.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And this doesn't. I mean, maybe what they're going for is they're trying to treat hockey like it was in the 70s. Like, this movie...
Yeah, rough and tumble.
Yeah, the movies clearly have, like, a love of Golden Age hockey and, like, the Broad Street Bullies and all that. But, like, I mean, that's fine. I mean, I wish I knew if they were doing that.
But I know what you mean. I mean, because if it does have that, then, you know, it also would apply to, like, several sports, including baseball, but the NBA, too. Like, you know, we watched, you know, The Last Dance and all those things, and how much fucking hardcore shit it was back in the day, and now there's so many rules and regulations for safety that are good for the players, but they do change the game very, very much. So, I mean, I can't speak to hockey, but I mean, has it really gotten that much?
Yeah, absolutely it has. And I mean, it's still the most hardcore sport ever. And like, I appreciate this movie putting down baseball as being like a pussy sport, because it is. But
right. I don't remember that sequence, but.
Well, I wrote down the line, this is not fucking baseball.
Okay.
Okay, but you know. I think they did something really deliberate during the final fight scene, Henry, in the first movie, where they both not only drop their gloves, but they take their helmets off.
Yeah.
Helmets have been required in this league since the early 90s.
Right.
Right,
but there was that age where they didn't. Some people just chose not to wear them.
Nobody wore helmets in like the 60s and 70s, and so I felt like that was a nod to like, remember how fucking awesome hockey was.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I mean, even in the 80s when I was a kid, you know, I remember I'd lived in Canada for a while, and you know, weren't there still people not wearing helmets? Like one guy on a team.
It makes me feel old.
I don't know.
Yeah, there were like outliers that like refused, and they were allowed to back then. When I got into hockey and the Rangers won the Stanley Cup in 1994, we had one guy on our team, this dude Glenn Anderson, who was like a relic of the past, and we didn't wear a helmet on the ice.
Crazy. Yeah. So, I mean, I think Jay Baruchel's probably around my age, but probably between us, you know, and so he probably has that nostalgia for that period. But you're right. I would actually, I mean, you don't know if that's what he's going for, but I think it is. He just doesn't explicitly state it.
It must be. I had to talk myself through it. He's 38, by the way.
38. Okay. Yeah. I wonder what the movie would have been like, or if it would have been a total disaster, if he would have actually set the movie in that period, like changed the period. You know, would that have been
I mean, that just makes it a totally different movie because so much of the humor is based in
Yeah,
shit that's going on currently.
yeah, I just wonder if that would have been an interesting film to
Yeah.
like what retro 80s or
Although
you
maybe
know.
he didn't want to do that because there like Slapshot already exists.
Right, yeah. Oh, Paul Newman. That's Paul Newman, right?
Yeah, he's in there.
Yeah,
He's
he's a
the
hockey
lead.
player.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
love that movie. We should cover that. I think
really?
they did a sequel.
I never saw it.
It's
I always
good.
assumed it was garbage.
No,
I just
no. I mean, maybe it is. I saw it a lot as a kid. Like when I was into
okay.
hockey as a kid, I loved
Yeah.
that movie.
Okay. All right. Interesting.
Yeah.
Paul Newman as a hockey player. It's just so hard to picture that, you know.
He does the
But
job.
hey, Robert Redford's 50 in The Natural, so I guess
Hey,
anything's
Paul
possible.
Newman played a pool shark, Henry.
Well, that's a little easier to buy.
Is
But
it?
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, you're right. Okay. What else do you want to talk about in this movie?
I mean, I don't know. Allison Pill gets pregnant, so they're gonna have a baby. She wants him to abandon his hockey career. He doesn't want to, but he does for her. Then she comes to the realization, of course, that she can't hold him from his dreams, and that's what he's meant to do. And it's very by rote.
Henry,
You
by
know,
the way, you know Slapshot's directed by George Roy Hill.
is that right?
Yeah, how about that?
Of the Sting.
And Butch Cassidy and
Right,
Slaughterhouse
right.
Five and
Oh yes.
World
Yes,
According to
yes.
Garp.
Boo on that.
I
But
know,
all
I know.
right. Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, what did you just say?
Um.
I
It was a very
apologize.
long, complicated paragraph. I don't remember. No, I was just saying how essentially it's the movie that we get in a lot of sports movies, or
Oh,
action films about cops or something, where the wife wants the husband to
yes.
abandon career, but it's all he knows. So then eventually, at some point she's going to see the light that he needs to be doing this no matter what. He goes back and does it one final time, and then
No, how do I say this? Fucking blows. This is a character that they did what they did with her in the first movie, and they could have taken 5 years and bulked up that character. They got Allison Pill back, make her the real second lead of this movie.
Yeah,
But instead, what we're going to do is get her pregnant and have her be the nagging wife who is trying to tell Sean William Scott to stop playing hockey. At the very least, in the first movie, she was a huge hockey fan that had a thing for hockey players and
Yeah.
loved watching Sean William Scott play hockey. Now, making her in this movie a nagging wife, a pregnant nagging wife, I mean, it sucks.
And to make matters worse, I think it's like in a nod to be like, well, we're on the women's side. We get it. She has a self-aware,
Yeah, it
self-referencing moment.
sucks.
Yeah, when she's like, "You're making me into this nag. I don't want to."
I never wanted to be this person. I'm like, I get what you're doing, screenwriters. You're aware you're writing a shitty
Yep.
script, and you think if you point it out, then we're going to forgive you.
Totally, and that's kind of bad. A similar thing is actually done a little bit in Knocked Up too, where they make Katherine Heigl like acknowledge her being an annoying person for a while, and it's just kind of like, yeah, it's like you can't really have it both ways.
That
guys.
stuff actually works so much better in that movie when Rogan is callously accusing her of things.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
In this, just playing off herself because Sean William Scott is like the lovable teddy bear who doesn't say anything, so she's just like looking even worse by pointing it out. I mean, it's bad. That's bad stuff. I still had
No
there's
Levy
enough
in this movie, Henry.
No who?
No Levy. They couldn't get him back.
I noticed.
Yeah, he was busy
That
with
was great.
Schitt's
It was
Creek.
fine. I don't.
Baruchel came back for a few scenes, but I feel like he wanted to focus on directing. I think there's less of him in this movie.
There definitely is a lot less of him in this movie, for sure. I mean, I guess it's so funny because this was one of those movies where it's not a good movie, but I didn't think it was completely wretched. I mean, I won't watch it again, I'm sure. There's a Goon movie, and that's great, and I'll watch it again. This is an unnecessary sequel, but I didn't think it was a total piece of shit. Mainly because it was just fun to be back with some of the characters.
I
Like
agree, and
V and Kim Coates, and that was fun. The airplane sequence I thought was very funny, where he's
really
whispering the pep talk. You know,
although they used some Canadian improv actress as a stewardess in that scene, and I could pull it out from a mile away.
Oh, really? You
Yeah,
could tell that?
I was just like, I saw her, and like the first thing I saw was like, "How's your improv class?"
Yeah. Yeah, her reactions are very improv-y on stage type of thing. Like, scene!
Yeah. She was thinking up those one-liners. They let people riff in this movie, and it kind of sucks. But so I thought it was pretty wretched at first, but I started to enjoy it sort of midway in, once the status quo was that Sean William Scott was not there, and we were getting to spend time with the characters from the team and Wyatt Russell.
Yeah.
And then I was sort of like, I'm kind of okay if Sean William Scott disappears from the movie. Like, I love Sean William Scott, but like, I'm cool just watching a hockey movie about this team.
Well, because I think they make the team interesting enough.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, I hate to keep bringing it up, but it's just, it's kind of like Major League. There's no real one character in that. You can have a whole bunch of scenes in that movie without Charlie Sheen, without Tom Berenger, and you still have another bunch of supporting characters that are just as good. So it works like a similar fashion in this movie as well.
I agree, Henry. What do you give Goon, Last of the Enforcers?
Give it 2 stars.
I do as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's not a 1.
No,
there's enough here.
I smiled several times. It was not torture to watch at all. It was just kind of a nothing disappointment, but it's still funny and it's harmless.
Yeah, there's people that really swear by these movies, Henry, especially the first one, and it is just lacking a little something for me. And I don't know what it is. There's clearly a love for hockey in these movies and an understanding for it, but a sort of willingness to flout convention and reality that bums me out. And also, it's an enormous ensemble cast with too much of a focus on certain characters, not enough of a focus on some others. There's just a balance missing.
Okay. Yeah, and I me as not such a hockey fan was able to look past the silliness of the lack of reality and just took it more was just right on a surface level. And I get that though.
I wonder if it's because I care more about hockey than the other sports.
I think.
I wonder if
I think so.
Because I do watch like stuff like Necessary Roughness, that football movie, and I really don't give a fuck that they're messing around with the rules of football.
Well, right, and I mean, and I'm I think I'm more stringent with like baseball movies where it's like a lot of that stuff. I mean, with Major League being the exception, just because they do, like you said, get a lot of it right.
Yeah,
but I mean, if this was a movie like that took this much liberty and silliness with the rules of baseball, I'd probably be a lot more like, come on, and with this I just don't have it because I don't have that deep tie to the sport. So it's more of a comedy to me,
Yeah, and then we get some bloopies and there's a post-credits scene that's not very funny. And and that's the movie. Benny Cohen, we fucking did it.
I don't think I saw the post-credits. Totally at the end?
After the credits, there's like a scene of Sean William Scott talking to a reporter, and he doesn't know who Wayne Gretzky is.
I didn't stay for that.
Yeah.
I thought we were done with the bloopers, and then I thought we were done. Okay. All right. Fair enough.
You got any more to say about the Goon franchise, Henry?
Well, I didn't say my MVP and LVP.
Oh, nor did I.
The insufferable performance of T.J. Miller, who doesn't make one fucking funny joke at Sports Desk.
He really doesn't.
Not one.
And this is another thing that bothered me. This is a pet peeve I have in movies, Henry. When there's a TV show in a movie that is clearly on a network that would not allow swearing.
Yeah, ridiculous. That was hard to...
That drives me nuts.
It was really dumb. I mean, it made no sense. It made more sense in the first one because of Jay Baruchel possibly being on a blog or a cable access.
No. Of course, it's public access. Like, you can ignore it there. But this is clearly supposed to just be. It's a show called Sports Desk on like a fake network. It's clearly just Sports Center on ESPN.
Yeah, and it's just stupid, and he's not funny, and you could have had a really good funny thing there. I mean, you really could have, but I don't know, man. T.J. Miller's like ruined 2 movies for me. I mean, that movie that I
Underwater.
thought was yeah, like that wasn't going to be a. Yeah, right. I mean, like that. He's just one of those guys. He's just too much. Like, I mean, even in Deadpool, where that's not a great movie, but it's fun. I liked it more than you did in the first one I'm talking about. Even he manages to, I guess, be in his wheelhouse there, but in this one, he just sinks stuff. He sinks it.
Silicon Valley is a really dry show. And he really works as like a larger element who like broadens it. But I think when you put him in something that's already broad, and then you have the energy of T.J. Miller overpowering that shit, it doesn't work for me.
No, I agree.
Also, he's a shitty guy who's done some bad things to women. So maybe let's stop putting him in movies altogether.
I didn't know that. Yeah, I mean, he's just not funny. I mean, I haven't thought he was funny in anything I've seen, so I just feel like I doubt I'm ever going to. I might just not find him funny.
Well, I think he might at some point just be phased out of Hollywood. So we might stop. I think maybe Gad is getting some of the roles TJ would have gotten a couple years ago.
Christ. Mm-hmm. Gad in Underwater wouldn't have been any better.
I gotta say, I'd take T.J. Miller over Gad.
Yeah, because Gad couldn't even fit in a scuba suit anyway, so it probably wouldn't have worked.
That would have been funny though, watching Gad try to fit into a scuba suit.
That would have been the gag the whole movie, right? Mm-hmm. It would have been like, are all these suits built for what am I in Kids R Us? Am I in Babies R Us?
Fuck that guy. Okay, Henry. Did we do MVP and LVP and stuff?
My MVP's Sean William Scott, I guess.
I'm gonna go with Wyatt Russell, of course.
That's very good. Had I thought more about it, I would have probably gone that way, or I would have gone with Ogilvy the Transformation because I loved him as an assistant coach.
Oh yeah, he was. I was really glad that they did that. See, that's a nice evolution of that character. It makes sense.
Very much so. I kind of just felt like I need to give Sean William Scott something. I didn't give him anything in the first one. So, I mean, he's carrying the role decently in this one, but there's nothing that special. So, yeah.
Okay. I'm going to give my LVP to, I want to say Allison Pill, because I hated that character so much in this movie, but I don't know. It's probably more like T.J. Miller or Jason Jones.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think of Alicia Cuthbert? We never brought her up, really. She's kind of the biggest name that was added to the cast of this movie.
She's the sister of Allison Pill in this.
Yeah.
I thought she was actually kind of funny. I thought she was all right.
She's okay.
They don't give her anything to do. I mean, she's barely in the movie. She's just drunk and then just says some words of wisdom at the end.
Yeah, she doesn't add anything, but she doesn't take anything away either.
No, I thought maybe she'd become the romantic interest of somebody.
I did too. I thought she was going to end up like boning LaFlamme or Wyatt Russell or something.
Yeah, me too. And they didn't do anything with her, so I don't really know what.
Hey, LaFlamme was better in this movie. I really liked that they had him like he had character development at the end of the first one, and instead of fucking removing it for the sequel to try and capture the energy of the first one, they let him be developed as a character.
Yeah, I agree. He just continued on, like he didn't start from scratch.
But that happens a lot in sequels.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure. But he's definitely like a different person in the second movie.
And his relationship with Sean William Scott is really fucking sweet in this movie.
Yeah, it is. And they didn't do what they easily could have done in like a poorer sequel where it would have been so irritating. Like if he fell back into being a prima donna, like that shit's over with.
Well, that's what I was worried about. Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't do that, and that was nice.
It's kind of they do that with Charlie Sheen from Major League to Major League 2.
Yeah. No, it's fucking garbage, but yeah.
All right, bro. Let's stop talking about this movie. But this was a good time. Thanks, Benny Cohen.
Yeah.
Goon.
Yeah, thank you. Goon.
Watch Goon. I recommend you watch the first Goon. It's good.
I recommend it too, very much so.